to control. Some grub riding a monster just wiped out every rifle at the museum.
Right away, when we started the game, we wanted to make an intense experience. So it's really an intense, challenging new version of Gears of War. We go back to a prequel of the original trilogy. You know, we told the story of Delta Squad in 3 parts. That was very deliberate. And so when we looked to do a new version, we said, you know, where can we go? It's a massive universe, lots of different choices. We looked at Baird was a big fan favorite. He's the most popular character coming out of Gears 3, and we had told the backstory of all the other members of Delta Squad, but never Baird. And so those two things kind of meshed together and said, you know, it made a lot of sense to go talk about Baird. And then he had this cool backstory. Again, we never talked about it, where he was an officer. You know, a bunch of stuff happened, and then he was no longer an officer. And so that's the story that we wanted to go after. It's at a cool time period in the universe. It's 30 days after E-Day, so it's all this kind of fresh destruction. A lot of stuff is going on, and we kind of follow the events of what happened to Baird and his team to him, you know, ultimately losing his status as an officer. Yeah, Gears will obviously always be a cover-based shooter, right? That's what really defined the series, and so that's what we want it to still be. You know, when we look at narrative styles and ways to tell the story, we had this cool mechanism where we had it centers around a court-martial of Baird and his team, and so they're giving testimony, and then you sort of flash back and you play through that testimony. And of course, you have 4 members of the team, they're all giving testimony. You know, now we can go and play through each person's perspective of the events that happened, you know, to tell the story in that way, and gives you some flavor of each one of the characters as opposed to just Baird. You know, while Baird is the star, you know, you see Baird a lot, but you also kind of get to see, you know, some of the new characters. You get to play as Cole again, and you get this whole variety of you know, how it plays out. Yeah, so we have a whole new system that scores you as you play the game. In each section that you play the game, you have the ability to earn 3 stars, and you earn those stars by killing things. You get more points if you jib an enemy, executing an enemy. So all the things that you naturally do to play the game, you know, earning ribbons and that sort of thing, will earn you stars. And then you get different color stars based on your difficulty level. So for the completionists, you know, they're going to want to go through and get every color star, 3 stars on each and every level. And then we use that to also unlock content, right? Give you an incentive to go through and do well. And we also show you, you know, when you finish a chunk and you finish a section, we show you your score. You know, maybe you're not happy with it. You can hit a button and just instantly replay through that section and try to do better. You know, it counts up, it tells you why you did good, maybe why you did bad, and then you can go take another shot at it. When you earn stars, it'll be stuff to unlock. You know, it's stuff that you've seen that you would kind of normally expect from a Gears game. You know, various bits of content that we'll be talking about later on. That's all pretty exciting, but yeah, there's quite a bit to unlock. So. One of the big things when you play through the campaign is the idea of what we call dynamic defense scenarios. One of the most popular missions in Gears of War 3 was the fort mission, and that's one where you're getting onslaughted by a ton of locusts. You're constantly falling back and defending, you know, a little bit more than your traditional Gears, where you're always pushing forward. And so it also takes some elements of Horde that people are familiar with. So Horde mode, where you're kind of defending against various waves of oncoming locusts. We've integrated that into the campaign, so you'll come across these areas where your mission is to defend this very specific spot. And some of the tools you have there to help you are, you know, there might be some fortifications in place. There's also these sentries. And so there's a shotgun sentry, a Nasher sentry, a Lancer sentry, and a flamethrower sentry. And you can move these around. You can pick them up, move them around, and place them in different areas where you think maybe there's a choke point, where there's a good area to defend. You know, in co-op, it's even better because you can communicate and work with your friends. But okay, you man this turret, I'll man this turret, because they run out of ammo, so you kind of have to maintain them and reload them, which is obviously a lot easier if you have 4 players. Super excited for people to get this one. You know, I think we've really tried to listen to what the fans want. We've really tried to craft this one around what we think the fans are really going to enjoy. And so, you know, like I said, it's super intense. It's really challenging. I think they're really going to love it. Gears of War Judgment will be available March 19th, 2013.